สนับสนุนโดยบางจากมุ่งมั่นพัฒนาพลังงานทดแทนเพื่อเศรษฐกิจไทย AIA คิดถึงประกันชีวิตคิดถึง AIA
Okay, this is what happened. All right. Now we can see that Zidane looking back. That means that Materazzi was saying something, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now some newspapers in Europe hide some experts on lip reading, and you do.
I don't believe a word.
You don't.
At least I didn't see him speak. Did you see him speak? I don't
No, but
know.
what seems clear from what Zidane said on television, on French television, and what afterwards Materazzi admitted on the Italian newspaper, is that there was talk of moral standards of the members of the family, of Zidane's family. The only thing which is might be doubtful for what it matters, but I agree with Christoph that we are talking to
I'm not so
is whether he spoke about the mother or not. Certainly can be. Yes.
This investigation committee will go down into detail of exactly
But I don't think
who
it's
said what to whom, I'm sure they will have to know every word, every movement within that short period of time.
Frankly, I don't think it makes much difference. The point is that you cannot fall into this trap, into this provocation, because this is something which happens every day. And I'm sure that during his career as a football player, having been a champion, a great champion, Zidane has received thousands of provocations like this. If it were enough to speak about your sister or to speak about your mother, and you eliminate, just a champion, it would be very simple.
Was Zidane known for his bad temperament?
Yeah, rather, yeah.
Yes.
Rather, but Ignazio. Well, I'm not going to talk for hours about that. But as you said, you can take your argument and just return it, saying that he's a very experienced player. He has heard a lot of insults and so on and so forth. So why did he reacted that way precisely at that moment where that was the peak of his career? He was about to retire, etc. He was already on the way of being declared the best player, and so on and so on. So what made him have this kind of reaction? So it seems that probably the insult must have been very stinging. I suppose that he said that he has been insulted repeatedly. That's what he said. At this, So what leads me to what you said earlier, that it is a tactic that is prepared, etc. And I think that's ugly. If that's what you say, it's very ugly. If the Italian team prepares his player in preparing insults to make the opponent, this is ugly. This is not done.
You're saying it's not done. It should not be that way, right?
This is not the Italian team. This is something which happens all the time. And I don't think they were there 2 seconds. I cannot imagine what terrible things, just he could have said in 2 seconds. These are things which are said all the time, and I'm sure that the French players, also in relation with Italian players, just used expressions like that. The thing is that you just do not have to fall into the traps. And as Laurent said, it's not the first time that Zidane does something like that.
Right.
So it means that he's a great champion, but from the viewpoint of character, he has shown some weaknesses in certain cases.
But Zidane said he was sorry, he did it, but he would not apologize.
Yes.
Why?
Well, he say he would apologize to the
children,
public, especially to the young children.
He would do it again.
But not to Materazzi, because he felt insulted. That's what he said.
Did it have any political impact on the government?
Of
the
course.
Positive side?
Of course.
The new government too?
Of course.
New prime minister?
Of course. Things like that have an enormous impact on the government, on the economy. It has also been calculated.
The economy?
Yes, on the economy. There have been very, very expert people and foundations which have calculated how many points in the GDP, the economy gains because of something like that. But it's also a very important unifying factor. You know, just I wish I were an expert, a sociologist. You know, just maybe to explain how it is possible that, you know, just because of football, all of a sudden, you know, just you have all these people who have never met each other before, and they go there, you know, just and they enjoy together, and they have the feeling that, you know, just they're all friends. You know, just
If this had happened before the election, that would have influenced the election outcome because Barcelona owned a football team too,
Yes,
and he lost only, you know, a very small margin, right, to Prodi. You think if the World Cup had come to Italy before the election, slightly before?
But it depends. If there is a politician who is capable enough, you know, just to appear there at the right time, you know, just and being able to appear in front of the public opinion, who's someone, you know, just somehow, you know, just is sharing the success.
Right.
Certainly, as it influences the economy, I think it can influence the result of an election. Yes.
Right. For France, it was a big disappointment. Was it really a sad day?
It was
for
a
the whole
disappointment. Well, I don't think it changed the life of the French. But Ignazio is right. I mean, the success it has a very big impact, and we had that in France in '98.
Right.
And then also 2 years after, we had, you know, the World Cup and then the European Cup in a row. And that was very much, you know, it was very much for the French ego at that time, especially since, as Ignazio also noticed.
Professor Brummer, the economic and political impact on Germany as host, was it big?
I think so. Although right now we are not in a position to nail it down, so to say. As a result, economic figures you can't, after such a short time, you can't evaluate. But the expectations were running high before, and we know that during the championship going on, we had about a net result of 50,000 additional jobs in Germany. And this is quite something because, as you know, unemployment in Germany is high right now, and 50,000 is quite a figure. Tourism was, of course, soaring. We were expecting 3 million additional tourists for the championship, and I think this is a correct expectation, because if I look at the figure of spectators in the stadiums watching the games in the stadiums, it's a figure of 3.4 million.
There had been some fear before the game started of some social reaction. You know, you were afraid that there might be some racial problems and all this. It did not materialize.
This was a very pleasant surprise to me personally and to many others, and I think the concept of our police and our security forces was all right. It was a soft concept. It was no hard concept.
Wow.
Soft concept was working very well, for example, with our British fans, who are known for potential troublemakers.
Troublemakers. We don't call them hooligans.
And there was a game by the British where I would have expected such outcome, but it was nothing. Everything was fine. And this soft approach, letting the people come and talking to people and bringing people together, this was perfect. This was maybe one of the big assets of this championship. It was a peaceful situation all around.
Right. Despite the very close contest among the teams, right? But what was your main concern before the games?
My main concern was exactly in this direction, because we had some nasty incidents against black people in Germany, racist events and incidents in Germany, very deplorable ones. And so everybody had feared and apprehended that something like that would happen on big scale because we had some teams from Africa, as you know, from Ghana, from Togo, from Ivory Coast. But especially these teams were full of positive appreciation of the situation, being welcome everywhere. And this was the biggest surprise, if you want, for me, because, as facts were on the ground before, you could have expected something else. But I'm all too happy.
Why do you think that it turned out that way?
Well, in a way, the overall situation in Germany before the championship, you know, in our society is not so enthusiastic. We have big problems economically, socially. And so maybe most of the people wanted for some time just to celebrate, you know.
All right.
And so this slogan, a time to make friends, was hitting the point. So people were ready to do right that. And I have to correct Ignacio a little bit because the political net profit, so to say, is not so obvious in Germany.
No.
Right after the championship or during the last week of the championship, the polls showed a decline for the governing coalition in public acceptance.
Why did she make a personal appearance? She knew there was risk involved, right? Politically. That if the German team lost, then her presence would have been
that's okay. It's a sport, you know. This is no problem.
Really?
Absolutely no problem. I had personally absolutely no problem with losing in the semi-final. I thought it was the best possible result for the Germans. No problem, I think. It would be a little bit problematic for me, for the Germans to be on top again, I tell you frankly.
Why?
As a host, you know, you are a little bit modest and stay back a little bit. Let's say one point, because we're talking about celebration. I have brought a small gift for the two champions.
Okay.
This is
Thank you.
the runner-up. Runner-up. And this is the, of course, you can see the Italian champion.
Thank you. This is the gift from the host. And you have this, Ambassador. Do you play football yourself?
This is something that I have created some problems with my maid because I have worn it, I think, for 2 weeks in a row.
Why were you wearing it for 2 weeks?
Because of participation.
Yeah, but you were in Bangkok.
Yes, I was in Bangkok. This I got it in Rome. I had to go to Rome for some some meeting, and this was a present that they gave to me in Rome.
So throughout the
when I came back, on the eve of the semi-final with Germany, and from then on, you know, just practically I worn this all the time. You know, just now I'm beginning to get dressed again.
I'm a witness. It's right. He was all the time
wearing it in the office, at home,
yes. Official meetings, receptions, everything.
Just to feel it,
just to participate.
If you look for a reason of the final result, you know, there you have one.
I see. Yeah.
My regret, my main regret is that I was not in Rome during the celebration. This is something that I will regret. I was in Rome before, but I watched the final year in Bangkok.